Hello, this is Gareth from the iMoot team, and on behalf of the iMoot team, it's a great pleasure to welcome Carles, who's going to talk about adaptive quizzes. Thank you very much for your time. I know how much effort goes into making presentations, so away you go. Thank you.
Hi, Gareth. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. I'm trying to share my webcam. Okay, maybe that was not a good idea. Sorry, everyone, if you're hearing me. Okay, not good. Hi, please excuse this brief interruption. Thank you, Gareth, for this opportunity to talk and for hosting. I was trying to set up the webcam, but it's apparently not possible, or I got into some sort of problem. So I'm gonna do it without you seeing me. Can you type something that, like, do you hear me, like a yes or on the chat? Okay, good. Awesome. So basically, I want to present two parts of our work in Wiries. We are a company that focuses on mathematics and sciences, as well, the misspelled name here says math and science. And I'm going to be presenting a part which is not so mathematical, which is adaptive quizzes, which is an open source module. And then I'm gonna leave a few minutes at the end to present our more day-to-day work, so to speak. If there's questions at any time, just interrupt right in the chat or let me know that there is a question, okay? Good. Adaptive quizzes. So basically what this is a way to let the technology decide what to do next depending on the performance of your students, right? So if the student, like, we are focusing on quizzes, so on questions and answers, on tests. If they're doing good, we're gonna take them typically to harder questions. That's up to the teacher or to the content creator, but typically to more material or harder material. If they're not performing properly, we'll go to the basics, to something simpler, or to the breakstones of the content that we're trying to assess. Okay, there are, like, this is as a starting point. So there are several ways to tackle this adaptive learning idea. So there are several models, and these models, they're not exclusive, so you don't have to choose one or the other. So they're basically aspects of this adaptive learning activity. So there is the expert model, where basically your content creator is going to decide which things are harder and which things are not, and it is typically modeled by creating a pool of questions and selecting one, well, and like rating them. So these are easy, these are harder, these are medium. And then if you want to go more complex, then you select questions from the more complex pool, right? That's not a model that we have chosen, but that's a possible way of doing adaptive learning. The student model, which is based more on, like, it focuses on how the answer of the student is, and if we can understand this answer and we can provide different paths, different branches, different questions, depending on the answer of the student, right? And the instructional model, which is the concept that you are not only assessing, but also teaching. Even in a test, you can be teaching, and that's especially interesting if you are doing adaptive learning, okay? Because here you sort of take students back to where they have a flow in their knowledge, or you can take them forward to more content. As I said, you don't have to give up one for the other. So these are all different aspects of any adaptive model. And what we have done, so it's actually very down to earth. It sounds like it can sound very abstract, but it's very down to earth what we've done. So it's basically, we have created a complement to the standard model quiz. And what we do, as I mentioned, we don't do a pool of calibrated questions, but a flow that you are going to design as a content creator or as a teacher, right? So basically, you are going to say, if the student answers one particular question so right that he gets a mark of 60% or more, he will go to one question. If he grades between 40 and 60s, he goes to another one. If he goes below 40% of the marks, then he goes to an easier one. So that's up to you to configure, but that's how we work. So we will work question per question, and we will say where you're going next, okay? As it is, I will go deeper into this in a second, but just to give you like an overview of where we're heading. We are, as I mentioned, a math and science company. So also our approach, I think, is very compatible with STEM contents, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So basically scientific contents, because they are a lot more numerical. I think our compatibility or our adaptive quizzes work particularly well on these type of contents, but they are general, right? And the last point, it's contributed to the community. So we are like a software company which typically charges licenses, but these adaptive quizzes is open source. So we have contributed it to GitHub. So it's up there for everyone to also collaborate and develop and make the thing evolve. With this round of presentations that I've been doing lately, we are trying to get more people involved and to get like not, of course, the easiest is just download it, try it, and give us feedback and say, I need this feature. I would like to see this going this way or this other way. If you are willing to code as well, awesome. But as a first step, so we'd be very glad just to get like people giving us instructions on where to go next, what to do next, because we have developed it with the Open University of Catalonia. They had a particular set of requirements, but of course, as more people start using it, so different requirements will pop up, and we would be happy like to develop nodes in our idealistic realization of the tool, but on useful ways, okay? On the more technical, if I can call it that way, part, so we have inherited the quiz module. So you'll see it's very similar to working with quizzes, right? We default to Moodle as much as we can. So we do it on the math aspect, so on our commercial tools, and we do it here as well. So whenever Moodle does something properly, like storing the grades or reviewing and giving reports, all this is defaulted to Moodle. So we don't rewrite that. And whenever we need to do some specific functionality, of course, we do it. Okay. In particular, you can use any question type in Moodle. So you use Moodle as usual. And it's like a layer on top of the questions, right? As I mentioned, of course, we do math and scientific questions, which we call wide-risk quizzes. I'll talk at the end for a few minutes about this. And these adaptive quizzes are compatible with this other tool, right? Good, which doesn't, like, they run independently. You can have the adaptive learning, which is open source, or you can have web quizzes and not adaptive learning, which is our core business, or you can have both, just to say that you can have both. Okay. Okay. What we've done, I think I'll go, excuse me for the going around, but I'll go here for presenting. Oh, I understood I could zoom in. Okay. I don't seem to be able to zoom. I hope you can see something on the screen, but otherwise you just have to trust me. So, okay. So basically, for each question, you have the possibility to establish a condition. So if the grade is so high, you go to another question or to the end, right? So if fail, go to question X. If correct, go to question Y, or finish, like in this case, right? Sorry, I have to travel like that. I thought I was more proficient on knowing what's next. Okay, so that's the choice based on grading thresholds. Direct successor, so maybe in some questions it'll say, well, after this one comes, no matter what the answer is. Or you can let the student choose. So this is not a default configuration, but in some cases, so it was important for the Open University that the student could say, well, I'm done with this chapter, so I want to move on to the next one. Okay. And good, as I mentioned, so how we measure correctness is this number, so this percentage. So that's what makes it more STEM adapted. Just to make things clear, if someone had some previous experience about adaptive quiz by Adam Franco, it's not the same thing. So Adam Franco has more of an expert model, so it's a pool of questions with calibrated difficulty, so with rated difficulty. And this has, for us, like not a very proper support, because I think it's stayed into 4 to 5, and the latest version is pretty old. So we are a different plugin, so a different enhancement of Moodle. We are compatible up to 2.8, and we are about to launch 2.9. So compatibility with Moodle 2.9, of course. What regards like making things more official, we are pending the code style review by Moodle. So it's not yet an official plugin, but it's on Moodle table, I'd say. So it's going to happen soon, I guess. I know there's a lot of things happening in the Moodle headquarters, but this will come hopefully soon. And as I mentioned, we respect a lot everything that Moodle does by default. This is just a layer on top of it. And there's this tiny button here, which is here made larger. So regular quiz activity, including a jump icon. So this is the jump icon that you can click and then decide where the next question is going to be, right? Okay. This is somewhat abstract, so I hope no one will be put off by this, but I'm going to try to clarify this. So, because we do math and science, there are some specific things that we enhance Moodle with, and one of them is random parameters. So there is a very easy way to work with Y-risk quizzes, which are the mathematics quizzes. And we, like in the question, you write, let P be a polynomial or fraction, whatever, and every time the student launches a question, they will get a different set of values, different set of data, so they cannot copy from one another, and also they can train, so they can practice on the same question over and over. What happens is that when you are doing adaptive learning, so adaptive quizzes, sometimes this is bothering because you want one wording to one fixed set of data to perform a different set of questions, one after the other one. So with randomization, with random parameters, that was a problem because they would have one polynomial for question 1, a different polynomial for question 2, a different one for question 3. They go crazy. It's not the proper way to go. So we have this common random seed. So basically a way to say all these set of questions are linked, and we don't want a different polynomial for every question. We want the same one, right? This way we allow for doing adaptive learning in STEM, so in mathematics and sciences properly, okay? This is a small detail that, of course, if you've never heard about adaptive quizzes or virus quizzes, you don't know, but just to raise your awareness that it is a problem that we had to address, and we have done it, okay? And, okay, just when we say, like this slide only shows, let student decide, the jump is as easy as a checkbox. So it's here hidden because I moved my cursor now, but it's very easy to configure, right? And it's not a default choice. And well, so much for the technology, so to speak, of adaptive quizzes. Now I would like to talk a bit of the history. Is there any question about the technology bit, like how things work, the choices we've made, or maybe things that you're already imagining would be nice to have and might be our next development? Okay, if something pops up, just write it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll move on to the project background. As I mentioned, so we developed it with the Open University of Catalonia, which is a distance university, on Moodle 1.9 a while ago. 2012. We moved it to Moodle 2 in 2013. And that was with the enlargement of a common inter-university project for the whole region. So Catalonia is a region within Spain, so the Catalan government promoted also, and the university consortium so promoted this inter-university collaboration for online learning resources, which is this CYREX project. And in there is all our technology. So there is our math quizzes, and there is this adaptive learning, right? And from there, 2013, the next year, again, the government moved it to their Moodle farm installation, which is, I reckon, between 300 and 400 Moodles running on a single server, on a single platform, one per high school. And they also have these 2 plugins available. Okay, so basically the adaptive learning is there. The Moodle quizzes is also there, but as I mentioned, it's a paying tool. So the schools that want to use it, and the schools that don't want to use it, don't use it. So good. There has been some effort linked mainly to the CYREX project on the content creation part for the A levels. So for the tests for entering university, and then for first year, like zero courses where teachers check that students have some basic knowledge, ground knowledge, and they sort of build on that, right? But there's more to do. So again, if there are people wanting to create content and contribute to the community, so we have the repository for doing so, and already a few users doing it. Okay, good. What's next? So everything, basically. We just launched the quiz seriously, so there is a history of a few years, but with people who have known us for many years and who know how things work since the beginning, because we've done it together. So we are willing to incorporate like newcomers, people who face the technology from like afresh and new, and they tell us, okay, this is fine, this is terrible, we want this change, or we need this improved, right? We are aware that there's a lot to do. It is our first experience in open source, so we are also figuring out how to do things better on the processes, I would say. And that's about it for the adaptive learning part of the presentation. If you have questions anytime, just write it in the chat and I will go back to it. Now I would like to go to the math and science bit, for which I'm going to share my screen. We were doing some tests previously with more or less success. So, but let's hope that it will work properly. So, okay. I'm sure. Okay. Is everyone seeing my other screen? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to be optimistic on the amount of screen we're seeing. If I go too wide away from what you can see, just shout. So basically, how we enhance Moodle. So Moodle is expecting questions. So I left adaptive learning completely. This is virus quizzes. Now, this is mathematical questions, right? Compatible, but different tools, right? So how we improve Moodle? First of all, by recognizing that two different but equivalent, mathematically equivalent answers are the same, right? Like this x plus 2 equals 2 plus x. That would be the first thing, very basic one. And also being able, that answer is so simple, you don't have a formulator. But if the answer were x plus square root of 2, you would need a proper way to input this answer into Moodle, which Moodle doesn't offer. Like there is a formula editor, but it's not the best thing for a student to work with, and it's not well integrated with the quiz part. So what we've done is we integrate this toolbar where you can do the more common things that you typically do. You see there's extra things here that you typically do when answering questions. And that's one way to answer. The other one, I think we can see handwriting. So as a student on your tablet, you can come here and say, my answer is whatever. So 12, I'm going to make this larger, 12 divided 4, or 12 to the square. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but just to show you that it recognizes quite a lot of math symbols, math things, and it works like very fine. The student sees here what his answer is going to be, so he can decide if sending or not. And then he sends, like in the standard way. Like this is just a small demo to show you, but he sends in within Moodle standard way. Okay. Of course, Moodle stores not only the answer, also this image, right? So, well, it's not exactly an image, so technically it's a different thing, but we store the handwriting so that if the student has a complaint, the teacher can then go back and say, well, this was exactly your handwriting, and yeah, like you meant that one, but it's possible or not possible, whatever. So, okay. And here, so part of the analysis that I'll continue talking about. So the answer is incorrect. So the answer syntax is correct. So it's a mathematical answer, but it's not mathematically equal to the correct one, and it's not simplified as it had to be, right? Okay. Okay. About this thing, that's where I wanted to go next. We improve Moodle not only with the capacity to distinguish these two answers that are equivalent, or these two answers are equivalent, but you can also say, well, very fine, you're able to recognize that, but I don't want that one to be taken as correct, because maybe the question is simplify this fraction, right? So we allow for the teacher to decide this is going to be taken as correct or not. And how we do that? We go to View. Okay, this is really larger than your screen, but I'm going to try to keep it compact. Okay. Okay, I think you still managed most of it. So basically, as we had before, like the right answer, and second tab is for validation. There are several parts. I'm going to start by the last one. So here we say the answer has to be simplified, expanded, factorized. It's basically checkbox. It's pretty simple. We work with physics, with physical units, or chemistry units, or so, and also with more the algebraic aspect of the answer. So it has to be a fraction. So we are taking 1/2 and 2/4, but we are not taking 0.5, for example, right? Or any other form. It also works with numbers and precision and so many decimals, so many digits, and so on. And it works on some more abstract level, like this. Well, I don't want to go into here, but these are literally equal, mathematically equivalent or equivalent equations for something which in mathematics is called geometric spaces, for defining a sphere, for example, or a circle. So you can define it through many different equations. You can have, you can have a set of values, compare a set, and which means the answers are several and we are not interested in the order of the answers, right? So there's a lot of possibilities. As I said, I don't want to go crazy talking about this, but you can not only say my answer has to be this one, but you can specify which format it has to have, simplified, factorized, so on and so forth, right? And what we call level 3 is random parameters, which means, as I mentioned in the presentation of adaptive quizzes, you write factor the polynomial p, and then of course you define who p is and who p is not, and the student will get a different p every time, right? I think even these are random, so if I run this again, so I reload this page. Oh no, so this demo page doesn't have random polynomials, but I can show you here. So here, correct answer is #f, factor the polynomial #p, And in hash, we insert any type of mathematical object. So it can be a polynomial, matrix, a number, a fraction, a plot, whatever you can do with Wiris, you just write hash, name of your object, and it's there, right? And okay, you are also this, so you all have Java, our last bit of Java that we're gonna be deleting very soon and substituting by a non-Java calculator. And okay, I think I'm being punished for talking badly about Java, but basically, yeah, too many Java things running. Big blue button, screen sharing, our calculator, and now it's blocked. Good. Basically here, that's not handy. Okay, I cannot, I lost control over my screen, so I cannot show you properly how it works. You can see it. I will have to log out and log in, I guess. Or if Garrett can regain control from screen and kill my screen sharing, that'd be also good. Okay. Oh, it's reacting slightly now.
Yep, I think I did it. Go.
Okay. Yes, I see. But I'm still blocked on my screen. Okay, I'm gonna kill some things. Okay, I might be back. No, not yet. Okay, that was exciting. I'm back. Good. So basically, you code your randomness, your parameters, and you can use them. Don't run 3 different Java things at the same time, because you see it really goes crazy. I'm gonna be brave and share my screen again. And okay. Okay, there we go. And I want to show you our Java calculator, which is going to be replacing the Java bit very soon. So it's already done. I'm gonna make it small so you can see everything. It's already developed, but it's, oops. Okay, but it's not integrated into Moodle yet. So, oops. Okay, there we go. So I hope you're seeing at least a part of it. And with this one, replacing the old, okay, the old calculator in Moodle that does use Java and can lead to such trouble when you put it in to work with so many other things at the same time. Okay. Well, with this, the idea was just to show that there is some very strong math and science capabilities in Wiris quizzes. And as I mentioned, these are compatible with adaptive quizzes. So you can, if you want to start trying either of both, you go to wiris.com and you can download the Wiris quiz part for Moodle, or you can download the adaptive quizzes for Moodle from our website or from GitHub. Okay, and that's it from what I had to say. Now I'm all ears if someone has any question of any type, technological, content. So our contents are in STEM. I'm going to go back to where that is written. So I don't dare doing many more crazy things, but if you go to stemcollection.com, all in one word, I'm going to write it here. So you see a number of contents. I think there is about 8,000 or 9,000 questions in all possible languages written already for doing math and science quizzes. Where it translates automatically the math algorithm, so that you don't have to worry about translating from French or from Spanish or from any other language. The word part you have to translate yourself, and that's probably also a good way to step into our work. Like if you don't want to start from scratch creating contents, right? I see that no one is making questions on the chat.
Hello, Gareth. Just while people are hopefully writing some questions. Thank you, Carlos, for a really in-depth, fascinating presentation. I'm really sort of fascinated how it can then jump and make decisions. Reminds me of when I was really younger with the books where you flip to a page, you read something, and then you go to another page and jump around and stuff. And how that's
the idea, yeah.
Yeah, really, yeah, intriguing. I hadn't sort of seen that before and stuff, and how it sort of sends off and then get something else to validate the answer and think, oh yeah, that is right, and go back and then make Moodle a bit more real intelligent. So yeah, once again, thank you very much indeed on behalf of the iMoot team for presenting, and actually for myself. Yeah.
Thanks for hosting, and sorry about the technical issues that have arrived, but I hope that your interest was sparked, and if you want more, just get in touch and we will be there. Thank you, Gareth, and thanks everyone. So any other question? Just get in touch. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.